Hello and welcome to another episode of Soap Goes to the Oscars. This is number 135. I'm recording this on December 21st, 2025, and I watched the movie today. And if all goes according to schedule, you won't hear this until May of 2026. So, hello from the past. The movie I watched this time was called The Human Comedy. So I rented this from Fandango at home because I had a $5 Fandango credit from buying movie tickets. But as I was just looking it up, I discovered that it was available for free on Tubi. But this one didn't have commercials, so it's fine. It was free either way. It just there's another one I have to pay for, so I could have used the $5 for that one. But anywho, The Human Comedy is a 1943 American drama film directed by Clarence Brown and released by Metro Goldwyn Mayer. Began as a screenplay by William Saroyan, who was expected to direct. After Saroyan left the project, he wrote the novel of the same name and published it just before the film was released. Howard Estabrook was brought in to reduce the runtime to 2 hours. The picture stars Mickey Rooney, Frank Morgan, James Craig, Marsha Hunt, Faye Bainter, Ray Collins, Van Johnson, Donna Reed, and Jackie Butch Jenkins. Barry Nelson, Robert Mitchum, and Don DeFore appear together as boisterous soldiers in uncredited supporting roles. Produced by Clarence Brown, cinematography by Harry Stradling, edited by Conrad A. Nervig, music by Herbert Stothart. Production company MGM, distributed by Lowe's Inc. Release date March 2nd, 1943, with a runtime of 118 minutes. It was nominated for 5 Academy Awards. It won for Best Writing Original Story, nominated for Best Picture, Best Actor in a Leading Role for Mickey Rooney, Best Director Clarence Brown, Best Cinematography Black and White. Saroyan wrote a film treatment and a screenplay that he expected to direct. He left the project when his 240-page script proved to be too long, approximately 4 hours long. Typically, for those that don't know, a script is generally considered to be 1 minute per page. 240 pages would be 4 hours. And he was removed as director. Saroyan went home and turned his original script into a novel, which was published just before the film was released and became an instant bestseller. Saroyan was not at all happy with the film as completed by Brown. Among the noticeable differences between the film and the novel are a more vivid characterization of the 4-year-old Ulysses, stronger social criticism, and far fewer sentimental scenes that were incorporated into the film by Estabrook and Brown. Several sources indicate that The Human Comedy was the favorite film of MGM studio chief Louis B. Mayer. Reception. Here we go, folks. The New York Times critic Bosley Crowther praised the film's performances, especially Rooney, saying that there is a tenderness and restraint in his characterization. But he chided the film for excessive sentimentality, saying it features some most charming bits of fine motion picture expression and some most maudlin gobs of cinematic goo. Yeah, I would agree with that. Bosley Crowther and I are on the same wavelength, man. I wish I could have met that dude. But this one was pretty good. I liked it a lot. Watched it with my parents. They liked it a lot. There was a lot of people in this that kept popping up that, my dad is 89, so he recognized a lot of people from the old days here. And one that wasn't mentioned in the credits that I read was Alfalfa from the Little Rascals, who was his real name was Carl Switzer. But Robert, so that's a Robert Mitchum. Frank Morgan was the Wizard of Oz a few years before this. Donna Reed. The other one was Dorothy Morris. She wasn't mentioned in the credits I read out, I don't think. She was pretty good. This sort of had it says it's focused on Mickey Rooney's character, and it was to a degree. He was sort of the focal point, but there was a lot of stories going on with like his sister and a friend, which his brother was off to war and he was going to, hopefully come home and marry the friend, Mary. And then a friend of the brothers that, a soldier friend of the brothers was going to come home and hopefully marry his sister. Then there was Rooney worked at a telegraph office, and that's where the Wizard of Oz guy, Frank Morgan, worked, and another dude. And so that dude had like a girlfriend that then he decided he was going to marry, and then he was going off to war. And so there were a lot of like little stories going on in the peripheral of Rooney's life. It was almost sort of like the story of the town in a way too, but pretty well done. I gave it 3.5 stars. Not it's not perfect. There was some. Yeah, it was funny. It's called The Human Comedy. It's described as a drama film. There was comedic elements to it, but it is not, in fact, a comedy. It was just great acting from everybody. Just kind of a nice movie, I guess you could say. Yeah, some sadness in it too. At the end specifically, but no spoilers. You can probably guess some things. But a little melodramatic at times, like a lot of movies at this time were. And there was one character, the guy that worked in the telegraph office, who was James Craig. Yeah, James Craig. He was the one that had the girlfriend, and then he was going to go off to the Navy later. But his girlfriend would say, "Darling, darling," to him, and she said it like 800 times. And I paused the movie at one point, and I said, "If she says darling one more time, I'm going to lose my mind." And then she did. My mind is still here as far as I know. So it was just a nice movie. Good acting, good story, good movie. Best picture? Nope, it didn't win, but it's up against Casablanca. So what are you going to do? So that's all I've got for this one. I will see you next time.